Hi everyone, good to see you on this channel, and today we are going to talk about anger. And in particular, how can anger help you in your glow up, or how can you minimize its negative effects? My name is Ksenia, and on this channel I am sharing practical step-by-step tips on how to improve your life using astrology. Over here we use astrology as a tool that can help you understand your strong sides and areas that need improvement and get to your goals faster. If that's something you're interested in, stick around, hit that subscribe button, and let's get started with today's topic. I chose anger as a topic because currently we are experiencing two major planets in a very bold, proactive, and sometimes sign that can be full of fury. Aries, it's Venus and Mercury, and soon Sun is also going to join them in this zodiac sign. In terms of day-to-day actions, especially Mercury in Aries can bring a lot of conflicts and people who use their words, without thinking too much. They just get angry and they throw this energy at you. Or maybe you're the person who feels like a crazy amount of irritation recently. That might be Aries energy messing up with you. But if the next month is about to be filled with those kind of situations, we have to learn how to deal with it, how to learn with this feeling of irritation that maybe starts brewing inside you, or maybe this righteous anger that you start to feel when you feel offended by someone, when you feel that injustice, when somebody just dumped all their anger on you. And I believe there's nothing good or bad in astrology as well as in life, so anger can be a very useful emotion. And let's not get too critical of Aries, because even though, yes, they can be bold, they can be furious, they can be pretty irritating and too straightforward, but at the same time, they're very childlike. They have a lot of this energy of a person. If they have this goal and idea, something that they want to do, they're gonna get it done. They are very open and they are not gonna scheme against you. So this is a very sincere and raw emotion. But, sometimes when somebody is just dumping that raw and strong, pretty intense emotions at you, it can feel awful, especially if you just were standing there and you did not see it coming. So even though anger is perceived as something like a negative emotion, sometimes it's a great marker to understand that something is going wrong. Basically, your body is giving you a signal that, hey, something is not right here, so you feel this anger. This is just like a sign, hey, pay attention to this situation. First of all, let's analyze. When are we feeling angry? For example, we're in the supermarket and there's a super long queue and we have to wait and we've been waiting for 15 minutes and there's one cashier place that is not even open, and you get angry because you feel that your time is important for you and now you're just wasting it and it could have been done more effectively. So you get angry and you can use this anger in a positive way. You can be this bold person, this very courageous one who raises hands and says like, hey, let's maybe open up this line as well. And also there were scientific researches of this feeling that people describe as righteous anger, and this is something that makes people feel better about themselves. People know that they got angry because they were protecting their values or they wanted to make an improvement, and they feel good about themselves because they channel those righteous anger into a good deed. For example, if you saw somebody being rude to another person on the street and you interfere and you protect this other person, you get righteously angry because it didn't seem like a justice to you, and you engage in the situation and you feel good about yourself. Or when you feel that some injustice is happening to you and you get the strength to stand up for yourself, you're also feeling better after. This is this effect of righteous anger. Unfortunately, there are also situations where we either make a conscious decision not to interfere and feel bad about ourselves, or we just, freeze in the moment. Astrological part of that is every zodiac sign in your birth chart has its own element. There are fire signs, there are water signs, and those fire and water signs, they're very emotional. And fire ones like Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, they can express this energy outside. They can be like, hey, I feel this emotion and I'm going to express it in the outside world. While water signs, they express their feelings inside. For example, like Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, they are deeply emotional, deeply empathetic, but most likely they won't let people around them if they don't want to understand what is happening to them, what kind of emotion they feel. So everything is hidden inside, though they feel very deeply. And people with more air and earth energy, they are not so emotional, they are more rational, they have this ability to rethink the situation. If you're the person who's usually feeling a lot of deep feelings, but you have difficulties to express them outside, maybe you have a lot of water in your birth chart, you're just this kind of person and you don't feel the need to just overflow the outside world with your emotions, but you feel them deeply. As a person who has more water and earth in my birth chart, I would say that I prefer to rationalize the situation in the moment. I prefer to solve it rationally, and then when I come home, I cry and I get upset and I try to live through those emotions and this anger that I did not release in a very fiery way right away. To sum up, anger can be a very, very useful emotion if you understand the roots of your anger. Why did you get angry in the first place? And here I would like to add that if you got angry at someone, it does not mean that this particular situation is the reason. Maybe you've been feeling angry because of something else, and this only triggered your anger, helped you to release it. And here I would like to say a very big thank you to all those professions that help to experience this anger that's been triggered. Yeah, people do that pretty often. They get upset somewhere else with their life, with like a cheating partner or problems at work, and then they get this inconvenience and they just dump all of this anger that they did not process earlier on you. So yeah, I've been guilty of that too. I apologize for that behavior and thank you for not channeling this anger further on your close ones and yourself. Hopefully you don't do that. If you have a lot of water in your birth chart, meaning that you're not expressing all your anger right away, you're not dumping it all on people, great, because it helps you to maintain a better relationship with people around you. But at the same time, it can negatively affect you because you channel all those negative emotions on yourself. And about another type of people with a lot of fire in their birth chart, you're free of that. You're not self-destructing. You're not throwing all this negativity on yourself, which is great. But at the same time, your relationship with other people may suffer because you're basically dumping all of that on them, which is also, you have to be careful with that. So for both of these strategies, let's just sort out what actions can you do to express your anger safe, or at least safer than you used to. Number 1, scream. And I'm not telling about screaming and the consultant in the store for not having the right size for you. Scream in the field, or if you don't have an access to the field, in the pillow. It may seem like an odd advice, also it's one of the safest way to channel this anger when you can't confront another person or you didn't have time to. For example, when people were just like punching you during the rush hour and you were in a rush, so you couldn't really confront them about that, and you missed the moment, but now you feel awful. Number 2, smash some recyclables. If it's not against the local recyclables rules in your area, because smashing cans or bottles, especially the aluminum ones, just feels great. It's a physical action that just like releases all of those negative emotions. Well, not all of them, but it helps. Number 3, meditation. I would say for me personally, meditation is a way to deal with my anxiety, because when I'm angry, it's extremely hard to just sit down and release it, especially if you feel this righteous anger. So maybe I'm just on that level yet to use meditation to fight this furious energy inside, but for some people it helps. I would like to hear from you. How do you usually channel your anger? And feel free to share it in the comments. Journaling, again, my favorite advice against any emotions, against any big emotions, because it helps to process them. And also circle back to this part when we were talking about the roots of your anger, because maybe the reason that you think you're angry about is not actually the reason. Maybe there's something else. Maybe it's even something deeper, and maybe even something that requires therapy and work with your therapist to sort it out. physical activity in general, and it could be a wide variety. And if you're not into sports, I won't recommend you stuff like weights or running or jumping or some crazy intense HIIT workout, something like that, though it can help. But maybe try physical activities or games where you need to move. For example, it can be bowling, it could be axe throwing, it could be archery. Well, with archery, I think you need to be more precise, so probably axe throwing is a little bit better, or even shooting. Sketching is another great activity to channel your emotions into, even if you're not an artist, and I would say especially if you're not an artist, because you can just draw those lines and see how it's gonna go for you. And I've already mentioned physical activity, but jumping or dancing is a great way to release those tensions. Of course, there's also therapy, and therapy is something that if you're an angry person and you feel that you getting angry pretty often and it hurts you, it hurts people around you, it's a great way to understand maybe there was some kind of trauma in your past that leads you to this reaction. But I would say as a normal person, it is okay to get angry. Anger is a marker. It is a sign that something is going wrong and you have to react at this situation. And maybe if you get angry at work constantly and you get overly stressed because of it, maybe it's time to change it and get you out of self of this area where you have to feel this anger constantly. Different people have different tolerance against different factors, so I wouldn't say like, yeah, working in support is awful because people just constantly dumping their problems at you. Some people can tolerate it, some may not, and you just have to understand, is it working for you or not? Once again, huge respect to all the support agents because that's a pretty tough work, in my opinion. So thank you for having the powers to cope with it. As for the astrological aspect, we already talked that there's a lot of fire or water in your chart can indicate how you're channeling your emotions. Are you putting them on the outside people or onto yourself? There are so many factors that can affect the way you react, the way you feel anger, the way you express anger in your birth chart. And this is a good question to ask an astrologer, so they can take a look at your birth chart and explain why you have this or that. Anyways, I hope you liked the video, and if you did, please hit that like button. It's gonna support me as a creator and hopefully release more videos on this channel. And in this season filled with pretty intense emotions of Venus and Mercury and soon also Sun in Aries, I wish you to understand the roots of your anger and take a mindful decision whether you want to express some active aggression or if you want to just keep it down and then use one of the tips and tricks from the video to release it in some other way. Either way, thanks for watching till the end and see you next week.